Hello everyone and welcome to my Toronto Tingles video. If you saw my video from earlier this year, you'd know that I was going to visit Toronto and I showed some pictures that a family member had kindly let me borrow from a photo album of Toronto from when she visited there several years ago. So I was really excited to go. And I'm now back home and I've had the most wonderful time. So I thought I would share some items that I got from Canada with you and hopefully give you some tingles with them along the way and tell you a little bit about my trip. It all went incredibly fast, but it's been absolutely wonderful. So to start off with, I thought I'd share with you something from the first part of the journey, which was the flight over to Canada. Now, this was my first transatlantic flight, so I was really excited. The furthest I'd ever travelled on a plane was about 3 hours, so the journey to Canada took 7 hours 40. I flew from Manchester to Toronto. And I flew with Air Transat that flew club class, which was very special. So I was at the front of the plane with just 11 other people, and you got some very nice treats. And you got this bag, and in the back were some nice things for the journey. They call it a comfort kit, and there was a really fluffy warm blanket which I kept over me for the entire journey because I always find the air conditioning to be really cold in aircraft. So they gave you a inflatable neck pillow, which I didn't use on the way out. I used on the way back when they gave me one on the way back. So it's very soft. And everybody in club class got one of these. And we also got a lovely little bag. And in the back there were some very nice items. This is actually an eye mask, so you can put that on if you fancy a snooze. The cabin had this beautiful mood lighting which had a fabulous shade of purple, which was very lovely on the way back because the return flight was overnight, although it was rather turbulent coming back, so I didn't really sleep at all because the plane was rocking and rolling for a few hours on and off. So that was the eye mask. Also got some headphones in a case for the entertainment system, and a refreshing towel wipe. And this is some hand cream and lip balm. I don't know if you can see those there. These are a really good idea actually because you really dehydrate on aircraft, I think, and it's nice to keep the lip balm on your lips and keep your skin nice and drink plenty of fluid. And they also included some earplugs last but not least here, a toothbrush and some toothpaste. So those are the nice little things that were in the bag. So obviously I got 2 of these, one on the way out and one on the return journey, so I thought I'd save one to show you. And the other item, which I used when I got to the hotel in Toronto, I didn't use them on the plane. I don't tend to take my shoes off on aircraft, but some air transats. Which I did see some people wearing. It was quite funny actually, because on the return journey, which I said was the night flight, the gentleman in the next row of seats to me, he was a tall person and he got like really big feet, and he was laughing because he couldn't get his feet in these, and he said that these were made for pixie feet. So he was having a giggle about that because he just couldn't get his feet in them. His feet were too wide. And these are actually a bit big for me, but I've only got small feet. So that was some of the nice things that got on board the aircraft. It was a nice flight over, quite long. I felt it was long because I'm not used to it, but got fabulous attention in club class, fabulous food that I pre-ordered, and it came on proper plates and proper cutlery and linen napkins and as much drink and snacks as you want. It was really, really nice, and got a lovely flight attendant as well. So the whole flight over was very uneventful. It was very comfortable. So I was just so excited, and when I could see that we were starting to descend into Toronto, it was a beautiful day, blue skies, got a really great clear view from the aircraft. So it was just lovely to be over Canada and think, yay, I'm actually in Canada, and come down and land there. So I think it took a good sort of hour to get from the airport to the hotel, because the traffic at that time of day, it was around 5 p.m, was obviously very, very busy getting into the city, so it took a while, but it was so nice to get to the hotel. And I don't like unpacking, but it has to be done, so I had to get that done. And then the first evening, actually met up with the lovely Eddie ASMR and some of his friends, and went out for some food. It was very late for me because it was almost like me going out at midnight because of the time difference, but I was really trying to stay up to get on to Toronto time. But it was so lovely. And also, whilst I was in Toronto, did a few lovely things with Eddie. He came to Casa Loma, which is a beautiful big building which has got some history and a fabulous place to have a look around. So he came to Casa Loma with me, and went out for some meals and drinks, and also did some filming. So we managed to make a few videos while we were there, and they will be put in the description box below, so you can have a look at those. I'll put the links there. And it was such great fun to actually make collabs together in the same room rather than doing bits here and bits there. So it was really nice. So my first night, that's what happened. And then I don't think I slept too well because of being on different time, and I did feel a little bit tired and disorientated for the first couple of days. As I say, I've never done sort of transatlantic travel or long distance travel before, so I did feel a little bit tired. Anyway, whilst I was there, I visited a few places, and I'll show you. This is just the map. I'm not sure how much of this you will see. So there's Toronto. I don't know if you can see that there in that area. And I ended up just travelling round Lake Ontario there to go to Niagara Falls one day. And Niagara Falls is absolutely stunning. I knew it was going to be fabulous, but didn't realise how fabulous until I got there. So you went on the boat ride, which on the Canadian side of the falls is called the Hornblower, and you all get, and I've saved it, a lovely red poncho. There we go. You see that there? That's the Hornblower poncho, and it helps, but when you're actually right near the falls, it's incredible. The wind and the water and the spray, you are going to get wet, even with this, because the wind just seems to be phenomenal in the area around the falls. So this really did help. I did video some footage of the falls, which I've uploaded onto social media. If you check onto my Instagram, I've put some pictures from my trip on there as well, so you should be able to see a few things. But it was so lovely. The boat on the American side, obviously you can look across to the US of A at Niagara Falls, so that's called the Maid of the Mist, and everybody on that wears blue. But on the Canadian side you wear the lovely red. And if you ever get a chance to go to Niagara Falls, if you're not already, it really is an experience, and I absolutely loved it. And it was a beautiful day, very lucky with the weather whilst in Canada. I think there was only one or two occasions where there was a little bit of rain for an hour or so, and one overnight thunderstorm. The rest of the time it was sunny, or clouds and sun, and the temperatures were lovely. A couple of days were really quite warm as well, so very, very lucky to be able to get out and about there. So what else could I show you? This is all I've come back with, but there's a Canadian $50 note, and I found the money to be beautiful. The lovely colours and plasticky, but really, really nice. I forget which denomination it is, but one's in a lovely purple colour, which you know I love. And spent plenty of this while I was there. But you can't go on holiday and not enjoy yourself. And I picked up a few postcards while I was there to bring back, just as little souvenirs. So there's the Canadian flag, which I've got behind me as well. And it's the beautiful maple leaf. I actually ate quite a lot of maple syrup too while I was there, which is delicious. It's just amazing on pancakes for breakfast. And then there was this map of Canada. You can see that there, which is really cute. It's got little illustrations. And there is Toronto, which is where I was staying. Absolutely phenomenal. And the CN Tower. I went up the CN Tower, so I shall tell you all about that. The CN Tower was just phenomenal too. It's a real experience. I went for a meal in the restaurant, the 360 restaurant upstairs, which is, when I say upstairs, you don't go up the stairs, you go up on a lift. I think they've closed the stairs off. I'm not sure how you get up the stairs, it's so tall. And you go up this really fast lift, and you can see out into the city as the lift goes up. It takes just over 60 seconds to get up to the restaurant. And when you're up there, there's this phenomenal 360 view. Again, it was a clear blue sky that evening, so the view was looking out over the lake when I actually got to my table. But obviously the restaurant revolved very, very slowly, and I think it takes 72 minutes. And obviously as you're eating your meal, you're getting a different view. It's phenomenal. It went round to the city view, and then as you could see the sunset, and then to look out afterwards when the sun had set to all the city lights. It was just beautiful. You're so high up. And then there's the glass floor, which is a real experience. Looking down that made me feel a little bit dizzy, but that's great too. And the lift down again, it's just incredibly fast, but made my ears pop. But it's such a phenomenal place, and you can actually do this thing where you can walk around the edge of the tower, and not for me, I'm afraid. You're sort of suspended off on a rope, and you walk around the edge, and it's incredibly high. I'm not sure how much it costs. Somebody said it may be like $200 or something. I'm not sure if that's right, but I think someone would have to pay me to do that, because it was just, I don't know what that feels like. I'm not that brave, but I guess it's a real exhilarating experience. So that was the CN Tower. Went to lots of other areas as well, and I got this lovely mug, Toronto. Can you see that? Full focus, there we go. And this shows you different places. Casa Loma is where I got the mug from, and then it shows you all the different places of interest to visit. And I went to the Distillery District and St. Lawrence Market, which is phenomenal. It's like a couple of floors in this place, and it's the biggest market I've ever seen, with the biggest choice of produce. It's really buzzing. It's a very, very vibrant place with an amazing food court downstairs as well. I must have spent like a good couple of hours in there looking around. And here is the open top tour bus, which I didn't go on, but I got on the subway and the streetcars and visited many places on my own. What else have we got on there? Oh, there's a moose. Didn't see a moose. I don't guess there's many mooses in the middle. Moose in the middle of Toronto. Kensington Market was amazing. It's like I'd been teleported into another area, another time. It was just unbelievable. It looked so retro and had such a cool vibe to it. I've never seen anything like that before. And then nearby to that is Chinatown, which I loved. I always love visiting a Chinatown, so it is what it says it is. You know, it's all Chinese shops, food outlets, but really lovely. And I didn't visit Ripley's Aquarium. I didn't have time for that, but that's right by the CN Tower. And then had a couple of boat trips on the beautiful Lake Ontario. Had one trip which took me over to the Central Island, so I was able to walk around the island for as long as I liked, and then you get a free ferry back. It only takes a few minutes. And the second trip I had was a narrated trip with a guide around the island, telling you about the history and little other islands that are there as well. It was beautiful because, again, it was fabulous weather. So, and when you're on your way back, there's a really good photo opportunity to get that fabulous skyline with the lake and the CN Tower and these skyscrapers. So that was really special too. But I just love this mug because it's just got all these lovely little places which are great memories for me, because I did visit quite a few of them. And as you'll see, I'm wearing a Roots hoodie, which I couldn't go to Canada and not buy roots. So here's the back. So I went to the Eaton Centre, which is a very, very large shopping mall. It was a Sunday, I think, when I went, and it was very, very busy. But I walked there, which probably took about 15 minutes, but it was worth it. Lots of lovely shops in there, and there's also the suspended Canada geese. There's some, obviously not real geese, suspended from the ceiling, and that's really nice to see as well. So it looks like they're flying through the mall. So went into Roots, and there's the Canadian beaver, which I didn't see any of those either, and I really wanted to see raccoons. Even went out at night looking for raccoons. I was told that there are many in Toronto, but I never saw one. I bought a cuddly toy raccoon back with me, but never actually saw any raccoons. But did see some beautiful black squirrels, which I've never seen before, because I don't think we had those in the UK, and they were everywhere and they were so pretty. So I managed to get some pictures of those. But shopping at Roots probably went a bit crazy really, but I'll show you what I got. So just rest that on my knee for now. I got a cap with the maple leaf on it. So I wore this to keep the sun off my head a few times. And it's a gent's cap because I've got quite a large head and thick hair, and the ladies' caps just wouldn't fit, even on the last hole at the back. So I had to get this from the gents department, which I have to do very often with hats because the ladies' ones are just too small. So that was the cap. And I also bought this, which is another hoodie, but a grey one. So it's got the Roots logo on there, and it's got maple leaf on the hood. And it's really soft, but the fabrics on these are really heavy. They're really good quality, and I haven't worn this yet, this grey one, so I look forward to wearing that. I think that's going to be super warm for the winter. Just pop that there for now. And I also bought this. These have still got the tags on. There we go, can you see that? Beautiful t-shirt with the Canadian flag, maple leaf, with the logo on the sleeve. Can make some fabric sounds with that. But there was so much in Roots, I could have spent a fortune in there. So many nice things in so many different colours too. But I really like the red and white, which are obviously the colours of the Canadian flag. And this has got a maple leaf on. Can you see that on the sleeve? It's so lovely. It's so cosy. So those are my Roots goodies. And the weather isn't really very good here at the moment, so I suppose I'll be able to cozy up in these nice new things. Because no doubt not going to get too much more summer now, because it's the end of September when I recorded this. And there's a lovely area in Toronto called Yorkville, which is rather upscale. There's lots of designer shops. It's very beautiful. It's almost like you don't feel you're in a city. I walked down a street called Hazelton Avenue, and I just fell in love with this street. It was absolutely beautiful with these beautiful houses. It it just felt like suburbia, really. It didn't feel like you were in a city. You know, beautiful trees and the flowers and plants were out, and these lovely homes, and obviously extremely expensive to live there. I looked on the internet at a property that was for sale down there, and it was like a semi-detached place, but beautiful, but it was empty inside. I think it had just been renovated, but I don't even think there was a kitchen fitted, and I think that was up for about $4 million Canadian dollars, which is quite a lot of money. So it would be a beautiful area to live in if you had the money to live there. But it's a very, very lovely area. So I had a look round. There was like Versace, Chanel shops, Christian Louboutin, lots of lovely designer places, and lots of little independent boutique shops as well. But as I was walking through Yorkville, I saw this lady, and she was walking towards me, and she had a pair of shorts on and long hair, and I was just so drawn to this lady, and she just literally just walked up to me and started talking to me. And this lady is known as Susie the Scarf Lady, and she told me that she was in her 60s and she'd lived in that area for many, many, many years, and she was an artist and made scarves, and I think she does paintings, and she basically was talking about the changes that had gone about from the hippie era to the modern day, you know, high-rise condos, and the cost of being in that area and how it's all been developed, and the vibe had changed a lot, and she really didn't want to see artists getting kicked out of that area, which is apparently what's been happening. But had a really lovely conversation with her, and she self-publishes her own books here, and this one is called Tales of the Scarf Lady of Yorkville. Her name is Susie Sprott, and there she is there years ago, and she still looks absolutely beautiful. Really, really lovely lady. And this book has got photographs in from many years ago, which she's labelled up with what she's doing and the whole vibe of the place from years ago. And she told me that the author, Margaret Atwood, she lives in Toronto, and she used to buy scarves from her back in the day. And I think she does talk about this in here. I'm sure she said she talked about it in here. But I haven't actually read it yet. I've not had a chance, but I'm really looking forward to that. And she also wrote this book as well. It's called Star Child, The Girl Who Lived in the Attic and Flew on the Wings of a Swan. And she says at the beginning that this is a story about turning negatives into possibilities and positives, the inherent need to bring sense out of chaos and to bring sense and meaning to our situations and for our essential being. It is a story about listening to our own inner voice and guide, to not be distracted and defeated by the voice of others, and to be open to the many layers and dimensions to life as we journey this path on earth. And I thought that was lovely, so I can't wait to read this. There's the illustration on the front. So there's a couple of things for me to get reading now. And of course, you can't visit another country without sampling their delight, so I've got something else here to show you. And one of the videos that I made with Eddie ASMR was of us showing our Dollarama haul. We went to Dollarama one evening and bought some things to show and crinkle for you, and there were some food items in that, and I bought as much of it back with me as I could because I really do like some of the chocolate bars and things over there. So these featured in that video, but I thought I'd show them again in this. The coffee crisp, which I tried for the first time earlier this year when Eddie sent me a box of goodies over from Canada, and I don't drink coffee. I'm not a coffee fan, but these are delicious. They're very subtly flavoured. So they're just like a wafer. You can see that there, a little focus. A wafer with this lovely coffee flavouring, but only a small amount. And then there's the Mr. Big One. And this is actually made by Cadbury's, but this will be Cadbury's North America, so it doesn't taste like the Cadbury's in the UK. I think this is, if I remember, I've not eaten one for a while, but it's kind of like chewy and wafery with sort of like a cream filling, I think. I think it's got peanuts in it as well, but it was very, very tasty. But I did comment before that the Canadian chocolate seemed very, very sweet to me. And I can never eat a full bar because it's much sweeter than, say, Cadbury's. But it's still lovely. And this is peanuts and fudge and lots of chewiness and chocolate. It's lovely. The O. Henry bar. So I'm going to be looking forward to tucking into these very soon. And I've not tried these yet. Old Dutch ketchup chips, or crisps as we call them in the UK. Now, I discovered when I was there, because Eddie told me that the ketchup flavour is Canadian. So I had to get some of these, and I shall try them very soon. I'm so happy that everything survived the journey as well, because there was a lot to bring back. I do try to pack it as well as I could, but things survived. Is it still not too crunched up? There's another flavour of these which I bought back. I think they're like sour cream and chive, or chive and onion. Absolutely beautiful. I wish I'd have bought more of those, to be honest, because they really are lovely. I shall look forward to trying these. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I think I've shown you a nice little selection of the things that I acquired during my trip to Toronto. I can't wait to go back. I'm already thinking about when I can do this. There's much more I'd love to see. I'd love to perhaps travel a little bit further out of Toronto and go to some of the more sort of areas in the country and suburbia, and also visit Montreal. I'd also love to visit Ottawa as well, and they're not too far away. You can easily get there, you know, by plane, or there's trains. So that's sort of things I'd like to do. It took me a few days to recover when I got back. I think the jet lag caught up with me, and must have taken 2 or 3 days for me to actually feel back to normal. I was just really tired and a little bit spaced out for a few days, but I guess that's normal. And as I said before, I'm not used to such long distance travel. but it was absolutely worth it. It was just an amazing time, and I want to say thank you to Eddie ASMR for taking the time out to do things with me and the filming. It was just great to meet him, and I'll be back to do some more filming hopefully one day. And I'd also love Eddie to come over to the UK, so hopefully he'll be able to do that as well, and we can do some filming here in my studio. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say on my trip today. If any of you have been there and there's things that you could recommend me seeing if I go again, then do leave your comments. Or of course, if you live there, you'll know what things I should have seen or could see next time. So I'll post the videos as well, like I said earlier, that we made while we were over there, and hope you can take a look at those. And I'll see you all again very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.